Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. Just doing a video about sort of some things I've talked about before, but also kind of about the direction of this channel as well. As I said in a previous video, I've been talking a lot about the virus stuff for a long time and kind of getting a little burned out on it in general in life as well. So I have a lot of problems with how it's being handled and being perceived, and I'm not really sure what I think anymore, honestly. Um, there have been some unfortunate deaths in my periphery. I didn't personally know these people, but I know people who know some people that have died from it. So probably one of the first deaths of a young person in like that young in Wisconsin, or at least in my county. So I don't know what the situation was with that. Now, does that change my opinion? That I have these people that I know that are personally affected by that as far as what is going on with it? No. That doesn't mean that I don't have sympathy or empathy for what they're going through or what happened. Um, it's a complicated situation, and when you have people, I'm going to be a little political here again, but people like Gavin Newsom, now the San Diego mayor, all these people that are just not following the guidelines themselves, and then putting these people into these, basically imprisoning people in their own home. That's a different matter. Civil liberties, are being trampled upon in America, and that's not something that that's something that is bad. You don't And as far as the deaths that I know of, as far as in my periphery, I know at least partly that was something that one of the people that was super old, in basically past life expectancy, not that they should have died, but it's really difficult to ascertain a lot of these things as far as, what to say in regards to the situation, of course. Now, I'm still against lockdowns. I'm still against some great reset. They're talking about. I actually bought the book. I may be doing a review for this channel. It might be amongst the last videos I do about the virus on this channel for probably quite a long time. I'm not certain what the end game is going to be as far as me talking about that. If anything, I think people are the more more alarmist view that I know, even though we're violating the guidelines by handing out some of the people. As far as what I would say to them if they're actually watching these videos, as far as my opinion, this is kind of an outlet. It's more like a catharsis for me. If you want to view it as that what I'm afraid of is basically people being seen as bags of dangerous germs. This, kind of post 9/11 kind of paranoia that was similar to that. I mean, it was similar to that, and we treat people as statistics and not human beings. Lock people in their home, tell them they can't see their relatives, tell they can't go to funerals, tell them they can't do this or that because of the virus, because there's a risk, blah 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 blah. And it doesn't really help with the conspiracy narratives, I must say. As a lot of them said, we're going to have a dark winter, all this blah 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 blah. This all these terms thrown around, and now I found out the Great Reset and Build Back Better are two terms that were kind of associated with each other, and that was Biden's, phrase in his campaign after No Malarkey, which I kind of like better. Kind of think it's funny, using this antiquated term malarkey. It's kind of funny. It just kind of fits. So it's difficult to really quantify why I've done so many of these videos in a certain way, but I just think it's just expressing my anxiety, my fears about what's going to happen to our society at large. And that doesn't mean that I don't think the virus is deadly to some people or that it hasn't killed a lot of people. I just have unanswered questions. I mean, I just have unanswered questions. Why treat people this way when even in past pandemics they haven't been treated like they're these potential, inadvertent murderers and or bags of they're just bags of germs and not people. They're not. They're being dehumanized, regardless if people follow the guide. Whatever guidelines people follow. Most people, a slight majority of people are not following the guidelines, according to like a recent Gallup poll. Only about like maybe 35 to 40% of people are like isolating or not, or not seeing people for years on end or whatever the fuck they have planned. I'm just saying. So that's one thing to consider. I just don't like how it just, from the beginning, alarm bells were ringing for me because even today I was talking to someone about, she said the term new normal. I'm like, oh my God, why do I have to hear this? These phrases and stuff, they just, when I got into 9/11, not, as a, I wouldn't call myself a researcher, but, I've read a lot, I've read books about it, like Disconnecting the Dots, which was a good one. There's ones that kind of aren't as crazy, but they are towards the conspiracy side, to be blunt. And a lot of the language that has come out of this, like I said from the beginning, reminded me of 9/11. It was like, whoa, what are we trying to do here? What is this, some type of planned thing or, whatever they're trying to do? Now, the vaccine is kind of being rolled out and I'm not going to take it. Now, that doesn't mean in the future, like distant future, I wouldn't take it or something like that, depending. I don't want to take a vaccine that hasn't been vetted for long term, like a couple of years. And I think that's a reasonable expectation. Now, if they make it mandatory or they passive aggressively make it mandatory, like, oh, you can't go back to the cubicles if you don't have to take vaccine, then we'll find out, what's going to happen. I'll try to, contact some, some lawyers and stuff, or, we'll see what happens with all this, if they try to make things mandatory. Now, one thing I do believe is they're going to make it mandatory to visit some countries internationally. I think that's going to happen. Now, as far as it becoming mandatory in certain situations, like, we saw the Ticketmaster fiasco, how that was pushed up against, and, we'll have to see what happens. Now, the scary thing is I don't know how the hell they can already have a vaccine and already do, just all this stuff it's just creepy, And maybe that means I'm a paranoid conspiracy tinfoil hat. I don't think there's any tin in this, but but it's just like it's fucking ludicrous to not question things especially when people are so hypocritical. These politicians that are, flouting, is that the word? Flouting the rules, So as far as the content on YouTube, will I continue to make these videos? It's gonna slow down. I'm going to slow down. I have a couple more Rufus McDoofus videos that I was working on before I moved. And I'm finally getting all my stuff set up for doing stuff again. Like I got my music rig set up now, and as far as recording, and then I just have to find my webcams and all this other stuff, I have to do with regards to this apartment that I'm living in now. So I probably will be doing one or two more Rufus McDoofus videos, even though some of them are just literally some of them were just improvised on the spot because I saw these billboards and I drove around and turned on my phone on my camera and started doing the voice. It was pretty fun. I think it's necessary to have humor in this time too. I don't think we can get through this time without some humor, without some outlet to just talk about how ludicrous some of this shit is. I mean, there's just something that bothers me, and it's bothered me from the entire thing. It's like people are expected to isolate themselves because they're a potential person to spread the virus. This is unprecedented. I mean, we've never been told this before for any virus. I mean, Okay, so Spanish flu, there were a couple sort of lockdowns and stuff at public gatherings. I don't know if they've ever, I don't know how it was back then. So I haven't read enough reports of how it was back then, what they were telling people to do. This has been compared to Spanish flu. It's not even on the fucking on the a speck of the Spanish flu. That doesn't mean people won't die or people aren't affected by it. It just means like those comparisons are kind of apples and oranges, just with how everything is. Of course, there was the anti-mask leak back then. I know some people would probably join that, but it just bothers me, and some of the stuff bothers me, and how we're viewing our fellow human beings, if they don't follow the rules or the guidelines, and then people are hypocrites, and then these polls come out that most people aren't, maybe a somewhat slim, not slim majority, but majority of people are not following the guidelines. That doesn't mean they're all Trump supporters. I mean, that's pretty split evenly as far as I know. 50, 40, 30, 40% of people are Trump supporters. And then you have 50 or like 60% of people not following the guidelines. So those are not two equal things to consider with that. So I just want things to be better. I don't want to hear about any more deaths. I don't want to, hear about how I'm supposed to be doing this, supposed to be doing that, because I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to follow the guidelines. And, as far as the guidelines about like not meeting with someone outside my household for whatever amount of months or whatever, I'm not going to do that. I don't do that. And I see these YouTubers doing all these new videos with a bunch of people and stuff like that. I'm not going to mention names. I'm watching this guy. I mean, it's pretty funny because like you don't know if all those people are tested or not, So when people call me selfish, people might call me selfish for doing what I do, which is hang out with a couple of people several times a week. That's fine if you want to call me selfish. I mean, if you want to call me selfish, I have at it. It's just they haven't presented the evidence that I need to think that I am doing something morally and ethically wrong by doing it. I haven't seen convincing evidence enough for me to do that. And at the same time, these same people, I have evidence that they're doing stuff that's ethically and morally wrong. So it's kind of a stalemate, right? It's like, well, you're a big time like establishment Democrat that supports Biden, who hired someone that thinks we didn't do enough in Afghanistan and Iraq or something the other day, or these people that are warmongers. You're supporting these people with your tax dollars. You're supporting these people that are bombing places and making people starve. And these lockdowns are killing people too, apparently, according to the UN and UNICEF and even the World Health Organization and New York Times. So in the third world, I mean. So who's going to win this moral arbiter argument? I'm not going to win, but you're not going to win if you judge me. So like Tupac said, only God can judge me. I don't know. I don't listen to rap, but I'm just saying, it's the truth. It's just, it really bothers me though. I mean, just these moral decisions and dilemmas. So I did buy the Great Reset, which I might do a review on this channel of. Do a couple more Rufus McDoofus videos, and then I think I'm probably going to be done, honestly. I've done enough about this subject. I'm not sure if I'm going to be done, but I've been outraged for so long with this whole thing. There's not really much I can say. I'm trying to focus on other things. One of the things that I think I can do is focus on a lot of the stuff I was working on. Like I mentioned in one of my videos, in May, I was kind of making some progress with how I was, quote unquote, manifesting things in my life. I was doing a lot of these exercises and things were seeming to go a certain direction, and they kind of like May and early June, and they kind of crashed eventually. But that was because I stopped doing some of these things, stopped doing this journaling, stopped doing this scripting and these affirmations and stuff. It's hard for me to keep a habit, like that. So that's kind of one of those things. But I'm going to probably shift gears on this channel in general. Probably going to do more reviews, like music reviews. There was one that I've delayed for a way long time of this band that actually I haven't done. It's been February was when I was supposed to do the review, but it was, I don't know, and it's still open as far as me doing that review. Um, I was requested to do an update video on Carl Logan too, which I might do. I want to do some different stuff. So you're gonna see more and more different types of videos on this channel, other than the virus stuff. Back to the virus stuff a little bit. It's like I do feel bad. You know, I feel bad, confused, honestly broken by this whole thing. Um, but when I'm told not to do something, I dig in and I'll do it because that's just my nature. I mean, I'm just scared of authoritarianism, totalitarianism, and our civil liberties and the Constitution. I'm scared of that being trampled because of a virus. Regardless if you think the virus is worse than the Spanish flu or some shit, that doesn't give the excuse. And I've come to this position because for a while I was kind of like, well, if it personally affected me, maybe I would, start seeing that other side of the lockdowns and all that. And I'm like, no, it's not even a matter of that. Now, I don't think it's going to get any worse for the people I know. I don't think, just because we've seen that trend. I know the cases are very high right now where I live. I actually stopped looking at the cases and looking at the deaths the other day. I don't even know, and I'm going to try to take a fast. Now, I got a few. Like I said, I have a few videos in the pipeline about the virus, but I'm going to probably take a fast or a diet, a media diet, whatever you want to call it, as far as stuff concerning politics or stuff like that. I actually made a decision the other day to limit my Facebook again because what happened earlier this year, and I'm just be totally upfront about this. So I had this breakup, and we communicated a lot on Facebook. That was kind of my thing with her, and I never wanted to delete her, so because I thought there was a chance we'd get back together, blah blah blah. I thought I had hope. So so I decided to keep her as a friend, but I would, and then I unfollowed her, but I didn't delete her, but I unfollowed her. But it would remind me of her if I was on Facebook because I would see her in the chat thing on the right, the bubble, and she's still really high in the chat when I go on there for some whatever reason, even though she's not. I don't know how those algorithms work, but I was just like, what the fuck? So that was part of it, but also I feel like Facebook kind of gives me this negative energy a lot of the time. When I took my first break from Facebook, the virus hadn't really taken hold. It was like February, March. It was just going to be like, need to take a break from Facebook and social media in general, just to focus on other things because I get sucked into all these arguments and all this stuff. And those are the two reasons why I quit Facebook. I didn't quit Facebook, but I really wasn't on there that much. I don't think I even went on and checked my messages for weeks at a time. Like I deleted the app from my phone, in other words, like the communicator app or whatever it's called, messenger app. And I did that a second time. This all goes with a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn because I did these Facebook things. That's no. Anyways, it's kind of ironic because I think it's true. But the third time, the second time was summer. I was just like, I'm going to take a break from Facebook. I can't really stand because that was some of the virus stuff plus the political stuff. I was getting so pissed. And then the third time happened a week or two ago. I was just like, I'm done. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to be on there once in a while posting my songs and stuff, but overall, I'm done with it for a while. I'm not going to delete my Facebook, but I'm not going to partake in that shit. I'm bowing out, of a lot of these debates and these endless loops of fucking contention and drama and uh, negativity and hatred, and I'm bowing out of that, because it doesn't mean I won't return to politics or return to debating people about anything, or I'll never do it again. It just means I need a break, a really big vacation. So I'm thinking 6 months. Um, like I said, I have some virus videos in the pipeline, just because I had them already in the works before, including this one, because this is kind of my announcement sort of video. But I had some videos in pipeline, and I just don't know what to say anymore. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to be a neutral observer. Not going to follow every guideline, And eventually, if they start to push shit on, on the population, if these conspiracy theories are true, I will be resisting actively. But let's see what happens, of course. Like I said, I think a more realistic idea of the guidelines is that they're going to try to push people to get the vaccine. But if the cases are low enough, maybe some regions will have the common sense to say, okay, we got some herd immunity or whatever you want to call it in this situation, so we don't have to push this shit on people. Not sure, of course. I'm not going to say that that's a guarantee at all. So, done with it. Not looking at Twitter. I've subscribed to this guy, Alex Berenson, on Twitter, who's one of the controversial skeptics out there. And the other day, he thought his book was banned from Amazon, but I guess it was an error that he made or something. It was just like, oh my God, that was drama. I just couldn't stand it anymore, so I'm not going to even follow that stuff. I'm just going to watch funny shit on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of, like, MRE. This guy that eats, what's his name? Steve MRE something, rather. He's pretty famous, but he eats, like, these old rations from, like, one of them, I mean, he ate what is it called? A talk? Forgot what they're called, the crackers that they had from wars, where they eat this thing. He ate one from the Civil War. Just stuff like that. Nice hiss. He always says such shit. I watched that stuff, and I watched what's his name, Weber, or Jake Weber. I forgot his name. I've been watching a lot of that stuff instead of all the stuff, because I used to watch Co-Immunity and what's the other channel? All these fucking channels about the virus stuff and political debate behind it, and from the skeptical point of view, of course, because that's just the way that I've come up through this. I just can't deal with it anymore. I have to take a break. I was watching some astrology stuff, and then I was watching Quantum of Conscience, which is ironic. Quantum of Conscience, Matthew McKinley is kind of I'm not really sure what his whole thing is yet. I bought his book, watched a lot of his videos. He made an April predictions video about the virus that kind of actually fucking was pretty accurate. It was kind of scary. He doesn't claim to be like some psychic or something. It was just kind of bizarre. He predicted March that we would have everything. March of 2021 is when everything's going to like settle with everything, and people will be, the great unvaxxed, as he called it. I think he took down a video for some reason, or it got banned or something. I don't fucking know. The censorship's out of control. That's what I have to say about that. So, yeah, I don't know why this particular crisis that I got on this side of it, and I guess it's just I'm just skeptical about shit, especially when there's a lot of weird stuff about it. Like, I've done those Rufus McDoofus videos about the no handshakes ever anymore, and it's just like, what doesn't make any sense. It's a fucking virus. It's a pandemic. Even that people did it after the Spanish flu, it just makes me fucking skeptical about what's going on with this shit, and Great Reset and all that. So I did buy the Great Reset book. I'm probably going to do a review on this channel, and I'll probably be doing a couple more videos. I don't know, maybe I'll do one once a month that I hear something, but I'm taking a break from like reading about it and obsessing about it over and over again. I really am. The only thing that happened today with regards to the virus is I saw maybe one article on Yahoo News or some shit, and then I didn't read it because I was like, fuck that, I'm not going to read it, because I have to do that because of my emails or Yahoo. So then I had that conversation with a coworker, about the new normal. You know, she said that term. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to hear that shit. So those are the two only big things. I think there was a couple other things, but usually it's, unfortunately, usually it's like all day. Like I'll think about it, you know, like every couple minutes I'll be like, oh, what's going to happen? Oh my God. So I'm trying to just detach myself from all that stuff. I'm trying to get back to May or April, late April, May, June, early June, uh, types of thoughts and exercises and activities. So that's one thing I'm going to be doing. Um, so I'm trying to get more into that again. And I'm going to be doing that. Another thing I think I'm going to be doing is, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. As far as like role playing twice a week with people that I know and in their house, yeah, we continue to do that. Continue to hang out with friends when I can, you know. Continue to see my family when I can. I don't know what's going to happen with that necessarily, of course, because I don't know. Unless, you know, I'm not going to talk about everything with that either. But, you know, it's just, I'm going to be a normal person as much as I can. Date, you know, I had a date a month ago. Um, some really good prospects right now on that front. I'm just doing, and as far as that part of my life, I'm going to be spending about 6 to 8 hours a week on not 68, but 6 to 8 hours a week on pursuing that part of my life again. You know, so that's about all. I'm just, you know, I have the fatigue, the C virus fatigue, as they call it. But mine's a little different. Mine's like, I don't want to talk about it or think about it for a while, you know. And I'm not saying it'll go away, but you know, surprisingly, one thing that did happen, and maybe it just was coincidental, but when I stopped thinking about it in May, June, things were kind of things kind of took a turn. So I don't know. So as far as like I still watch some of the astrology videos about it. You know, I still have, and I think I still will for a couple more weeks because there's this one guy that's doing these videos about the Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. It's pretty interesting. He said a lot of interesting stuff on his channel. So I'll probably be watching some of that stuff, but it's more of it's not cold turkey, but it's definitely fucking gradual reduction. That includes on this channel. So that's about all. Peace out.